Coming to you from the big island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, I'm Steve Roby from Big Island Music Magazine. Welcome to another episode of Songs and Stories. It's a weekly show where we interview Big Island musicians and check out their music. On today's episode, I'm honored to have composer and musician Brandon Nakano. Welcome, Brandon.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we talk about your latest project, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been a musician. I'm born and raised here on Hawaiʻi Island. Been playing music for the last, bunch of years. Primarily out in the Waikoloa area, doing the hotels and whatnot. But I do have some gigs here in Hilo, namely like the Hilo burger joint. I'm down there on Fridays and Sundays.
I see they just reopened, and you're playing this Friday and Sunday, I think it is right?
Yes. I'm super excited to
right.
get back to work.
Yeah, slowly we're coming back to a live music scene here on the Big Island.
Yes.
In an effort to stop the spread of COVID-19, you've gathered several award-winning artists to record a public awareness song called Our Kuleana. Since we have a worldwide listening audience, can you explain to our listeners what Kuleana means and how the public campaign began?
Well, the word Kuleana in Hawaiian, it refers to like a responsibility that you may have in your life. In the Hawaiian thinking, it could be, your job, but it also could be, your responsibility to your family or also to your ancestors and upholding what they've set for your life and the life of your family. So it's kind of a deep thing, I think, in the thinking of the island people here.
Mm-hmm. So how does Kuleana apply to this song you've written, which is called Our Kuleana?
Well, as I'm getting older, I guess I just turned 40 this year during the pandemic. And as I get older, though, I find that music, what I try and do with the music that I play, my hope is that the music will help people. As you're growing up, there's, you're trying to get as good as you can, learn as many songs as you can, or write as many songs as you can. And I guess, you want to try and impress people with your ability and whatnot. But I think as I am getting older, I find it more important above anything else is just to use music as a tool to help, encourage people, give them hope and make them relax. All of those things, I think, and in turn, it does do the same thing for, I think, the musician.
Right. So there's this big public awareness campaign to stop the spread of COVID-19, and you've written a song called Our Kuleana. How did they approach you about writing a song? How did it all come together for you?
The campaign, and for the listeners who don't know, there was a launch of this Our Kuleana, hashtag Our Kuleana campaign, and they just had people with masks in black and white. And I saw one before it actually posted. They had these instructions on how to, what they were trying to get as many people to do that. But the night before, I actually saw somebody post it, and it was resounding to me. It was like, wow, this is a good thing, because I think we need to start taking responsibility for our actions. Government does have their own responsibilities, but really it comes down to us. And I thought it was a good idea. So the next day, it was a Thursday. I called a friend who was involved, in the putting out of the campaign, and I started asking questions, as to like what their ideas were, and the numbers were spiking in Hilo, especially. Mm-hmm. And so, they decided to just throw it out there, and they went at it, the best that they could. So I asked, are you guys going to do advertising? He said, well, we're talking about that, but we wanted to throw something out there. So what about like a jingle or music? Do you have any of that? And they said, well, we haven't really, put any of that together yet. And I said, well, let me write you something and I'll send it to you tonight and we'll see. And then as I was writing it, I thought, this is maybe could be bigger than a jingle or whatnot. And just happened the way that it did. Of course I wrote the chorus first, but then, the verses came pretty easily. And what I was trying to explain to the person that I was talking to was that, it was a good thing for me, because I felt like as a musician, we don't have the normal outlets that we do. Facebook, right, doing all of those lives and whatnot, they're great. Great to connect with people, but there's a certain energy when you have a listener right in front of you, and so I thought this was a good place or a good time to be able to express what I was feeling, and what more than anything else, I wanted the song to make people feel like they were together, even though we're pushing social distancing. I wanted people to feel like they belong to something,
Right.
and I think that's kind of what the song was really about. More than just wearing a mask, it was just like we're together, we're one, and we have to act as though we all matter.
Well, talk about now the group of musicians that you got together. How many are there? And I believe you're calling them, or they're calling themselves, the Aloha Land Collaborative.
Yeah, that was a last minute name. I set a goal for myself because I'm famous for writing songs and keeping them in my computer and never sharing them. but I decided, I got to get this done within a couple of days, and so fortunately I do have the facilities to record. So I put a call out to a bunch of friends, and I had to kind of take I guess you could call it the mindset that whoever could come was meant to be on it. And if they couldn't, I understand. Everybody was, it's busy. I pretty much gave people 2 days. Yeah. Like I have this day and this day to record. Can you come in on these days? And of course we had to do it individually also. Sure. On top of that. So,
right.
So, a lot of those factors came into play. I think as far as the people who played on it, I mean, namely the first guy that I called was Walter Aipolani Parawalta, one of my favorite voices, from my childhood, as far as the island music is concerned. And then, Ira K. Kolo is another one. That's the guys who were singing the second verse. Mm-hmm. And Mark Yamanaka, who's a good friend, we grew up together. And then Kaik School Hivinui, who's actually another guy who I've been playing with for close to 20 years. And then we also had some younger guys. There's Preston Paulo and Siaki Fileta, who are both awesome musicians. Siaki plays with a group called Media. And then who else did we have? We had Wills Kalhane, who is in Island One Rhythm. Yeah, that was kind of the basis for that. Chris Carballock also sang the bridge. He's from a group called The Highlights. And musician-wise, my wife played bass. I dragged her into it. Good friend CJ Kama was on drums, and we had Alan Gebbin on keyboards.
How many singers altogether?
I believe there are 12 or 13.
12, wow.
No, wait, 9, 10. I don't know. There's a lot.
Still, 9 or 12.
Yeah, I think there's 13 musicians total. That's wow. That's where it ended up. Kainani, I can't forget Kainani Kalana.
Right, of course not.
who she was the cherry on the top. Basically brought her in and said, I need to put some Hawaiian mana'o into this, and she came in, and I was like, okay, now that you're here, can you sing a part too? so it was a collaborative effort.
Wow.
Basically that's how it came about. Yeah, but I wanted to get it out as soon as possible because I think the message was important, and
right.
In order to not procrastinate, just get it done.
Well, congratulations for for all your efforts of pulling this all together.
From what I'm talking to the organizers of it, though, they want this to be more than just COVID also. They want it to be, people acting within their community and maybe contributing in their own ways. Us musicians, we can do it this way, but if you've got other ideas, I'm sure they're open to those things also, because it's all about community at this point.
Well, I think we've whetted our listeners' appetite for the song enough, and enough teasing this. Let's play Our Kuleana here on Songs and Stories.
No kako ke Kuleana. No kako no. E ola kako a pauloa. E ola e na kini e.
Got a lot to be thankful for.
Those that planted our feet, those who gave life and more.
And to honor those who've shown us the way.
Our slight inconvenience is a small price to pay.
If we all just do our part
and show aloha to each other, and that's where it should start.
Our island, our home, our Kuleana, step up
people, our fight,
Our decision to do what is right. Our island, our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own.
our aloha is our strength.
And our solution, it comes from within.
We never thought that we'd be here, battling the odds and living in fear.
Instead of looking for something to blame,
We've got to focus on healing and stop trying to shame.
if everybody does their part,
Take a look in the mirror, that's where it should start.
our islands, our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own.
Our people, our fight,
Our decision to do what is right. Our islands, our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own.
our aloha is our strength, and our solution,
It comes from within.
Giving all we've got to lose, it's time we recognize it's our path to choose.
Our island, our home,
Our Kuleana to step up and own.
Our people, our fight,
our decision to do what is right.
our island, our home,
Our Kuleana, to step up and own. Our aloha is our strength, and our solution, it comes from within. Our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own. Our island, our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own. Our island, our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own. Our island,
Come on.
our home,
we gotta take care of each other. Makala, for our kukuna and our keiki sake. Be safe, stay healthy.
step up and own. Our island,
Aloha.
our home, our Kuleana, to step up and own. Our island.
And we're back on Songs and Stories with my special guest today, Brandon Nakano. Brandon, this was quite a project you put together. When you contacted the musicians, what was the atmosphere like between them? What was the communication like with them? Were they eager to get involved with this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had great support from these guys and gal, and I think it kind of shines through. I mean, although we were apart while we were recording it, I mean, I was kind of the only common thread. Even as I was recording, I told them, I said, I want people to feel like this song is their song. So that's why I have so many different voices on it. And I said, I want you to sing like yourselves. But it was amazing because they would say, oh, let me hear what this, because I had recorded the whole thing before just to give a sample of, what I thought the melody would be. And I said, but if you want to bend the melody a little bit, to fit your own taste, then let's do it. A lot of them were like, oh, wait, let me hear what this person did, person before and after me, because I don't want to overstep them, or I want to make sure that it sounds good singing into what they're singing. And, that alone just shows how much the people who are involved, how much they care about not themselves, but just making the project better. And that's amazing. That was an amazing thing to me.
I can imagine, yeah. Are the local radio stations giving some love to the song? Are they giving it some airplay?
Support has been amazing. We're on KWXX and Kappa. And I did an interview with The Wave yesterday. So I mean, as far as Hawaiʻi Island, we're very, very thankful for those radio stations to be playing the music. We're trying to get out there to the other islands and whatnot, and we'll see how it goes. We've been getting good coverage, even on the news, because it's a good story. I think whenever people come together and try and make a change and try and do something good, it should be out there, because there's so much negative news nowadays. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that kind of like a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Even for myself to even work on it, it was good to get my mind off of the world.
Right.
And
we all need that.
And kind of bring it back home to like, okay, how were we raised? What were our values? And what are we going to do to make sure that we don't sink each other?
Right.
And I think that was, even for me, it was a good eye opener to kind of step back and live what I'm writing.
I think the timing on the song too is great too, because I believe the governor's talking about opening up tourism back together, however that will look like. But I think if we show the rest of the world that we're on board with keeping each other safe and the visitors to the islands as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's important to get Hawaii back to work safely. Mm-hmm. I have not had work, and a lot of us have not had work for the last several months, which has been difficult, definitely. But I think we have to do it safely, and we have to do it with aloha and with care. Mm. That's the only way that it's going to be successful. And instead of pointing fingers and we can do it all day long. I think if we all try and paddle the canoe the same way and be encouraging to each other, I think that's what's going to get us through this.
Absolutely. Well said. What's the best way for folks to find the song?
We do have it on iTunes and Apple Music, and it should be up on Spotify by now, or call the radio stations, Yeah. They all have the files. That helps, little encouragement from the public never hurts. But as I said, I'm thankful for them to be playing it.
Well, I'll be sure to put some links in the show description for the podcast too. So even our listeners overseas, wherever they're tuning in this podcast, they can listen and download the song or share it with their friends too.
Yeah.
How can the public learn more about the Our Kuleana project? Do they have a website?
They are on on Facebook and on Instagram. They have pages on those. It's Our Kuleana Hawaii. And then I believe on the web, if you search up Our Kuleana Hawaii, it should be up there.
Let's spell Kuleana for our listeners.
Okay, it's Kuleana.
Great. Okay, that always helps out somebody on the mainland or overseas. Is that with a C or a K? Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
I just want to thank you. I mean, I've been a long time observer of what you're doing, and I'm thankful for what you're doing for the Hawaiʻi Island community and our musicians and our music life, especially because I think live music is important. And music in general is important, and I just thank you for always supporting us and doing what you can do to get that out there.
Mahalo, Brandon. It's always nice to hear some kind words, and especially from a musician out there. That's great. Well, thanks for being a guest on the Songs and Stories podcast, Brandon, and aloha.
Aloha.
This is my island, this is my community, and these are my people. We knew it was a possibility, maybe even inevitable, and the thought of that literally hit home for me. And so if it is as simple as masking up, social distancing, and finding other ways to be together outside of our typical large physical gatherings, then that is the least I can do. Because stopping the spread of COVID is all of our kuleana.
Hawaiʻi Island, let's work together to fulfill our kuleana.
Sharing the talents of our local musicians is my kuleana.
Caring for and supporting community is my kuleana.
Teaching our keiki is my kuleana.
Continuing our traditions is my kuleana.
We all have our own individual kuleana.
But stopping the spread of COVID is all of our kuleana.
Hawaiʻi Island, let's work together and fulfill our kuleana.
O ka ho'olele I nā mele o ko kākou mau mea puolo nui o ke kalena, ko'u kuleana.
O ka mālama a kākou o kaiaulu, ko'u kuleana.
O ka hoʻonawa o keiki, koʻu Kuleana.
O ka mālama moʻomeheu, koʻu Kuleana.
We all have our own individual kuleana.
But stopping the spread of COVID is all of our Kuleana.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.